There we go. And this will be kind of a different event other than the past ones. Actually, you participants are able, we invite you to jump in and ask questions at the discussion, okay? So feel free to like put your cam on, mic on, and hop on the discussion. So thank you for being part of this event. First of all, we will start off with a small introduction of today's speakers. So Regina Andoni, Marcelo Velasco, and Alejandro Iturralde are all honorific mention graduate students from the University of Monterrey, class of 2021. The three of them are co-founders of Estudio 101, an interdisciplinary architecture studio focused on residential and commercial. Regina Andoni formed part of the AIAS UDEM chapter and AIAS Council of Global Representatives 2019 to 2020 and participated as speaker in Grassroots 2020. She has a certification in intercultural competitions thanks to her international experience in the Polytechnic University of Krakow in Poland. Marcelo Velasco and Alejandro Iturralde both have a certification in intercultural competitions thanks to their international experience in the University of Victoria of Melbourne, Australia. Team, this is now your space. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm Regina. This is Marcelo, and Alejandro is also here with us.
Hello, good morning, Alejandro.
We are very thankful for this space. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Paulina, for inviting us and being very good at what you do. We're going to start off basically sharing with you our portfolio, which is like our top 10 projects we have designed and developed ever since we started our own architecture and design firm. And then we're gonna go with some questions. So I'm gonna share my screen.
We actually prepared this portfolio for this presentation, gathering 10 projects that we love, not necessarily in a specific order or something like that. We just picked a few that might interest most people, but this is just a glimpse of what we can do.
Yes. Okay, so as we said, we're gonna show you guys 10 of our top 10 projects.
We try to mix residential and commercial projects, so you can see like the scale of projects that we do. This is a project in Arboleda, in the building La Nube. It's made by Cesar Pelli. I don't know if you know it, but it's a great architect, and we were very happy to get this project. This is a special project for us because it let us work the whole apartment and pick every piece of the apartment. Most clients don't let us do everything, but this client did, and we explored every possibility, and this is what we came to do.
Mm-hmm. So basically, when we first got assigned this project, the client had this whole collection of art pieces, and we said like, okay, how do we manage to build this or design this apartment in order for it to be like an art gallery or an art exhibition? So basically what we did is all this hallway is filled with some Picassos. So we tried to do each like space designed with a centerpiece for art itself to be like the masterpiece of the design. And that's how the concept arose.
We literally started working on the project by this hallway. We started designing, and what it came to us first was this hallway. So we parted for that, and start mixing pieces and gathering all the art pieces that the client wanted, and this is what we came up.
Mhm.
It's very neutral, very woody, because the client liked that, and it's just something that we felt
Mhm.
right.
Exactly. Currently, this project it's approved, and we are currently at
Yes.
execution/construction.
We started
With-
construction
Mhm.
3 weeks ago, nearly.
Okay, so our next project we wanted to show you, it's in Torre Acumal, which is in, well, Monterrey. It's a building made by Sordo Madaleno, which is a very known Mexican architect here. And basically for this concept of design, it was to create like a multi-purpose apartment. So basically this render that you see here, it's the living room, but the client also wanted it to be like a TV room and a bar. So we designed this whole built-in, like a furniture built-in, for this like doors to be moved, in order that if you want to watch a game or I don't know, watch a movie in your social area, you could be here. But if you wanted something more formal, you can close off the TV. And if you also want to show up the bar, you can close it
Yes.
however you want. So it's like a multi-purpose
Purpose.
room, exactly.
And it also, I'm gonna go back to the floor plan. It also lets you, we want to talk about like the clients and the variety of the projects. This client loves to cook, and we basically started working on the project based on the kitchen. As you can see, the kitchen is almost the same size as the social area, because the client is a chef. So we gave it a lot of like thought to the kitchen. We decided to tear down some walls in order to make it bigger. So we had to redistribute some areas to make it larger. So
Yes. So
it depends.
basically, this apartment has its own like floor plan that
The developer
the developer gives you. So what we did was we
enlarged
did a modification of the kitchen in order to give this priority to
to some areas.
some areas. Exactly. This is the proposal of the dining room, and it's also like a good contrast between light wood, but with also some cool tones that you can see here.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it's fun because in some parts we custom made furniture, like this table. It's a design of our own, so we get to like bring in some furniture that already exists, but also like make our own proposal.
Mhm.
So it's very fun to do that.
What I love about most of our projects is that it is very literally custom made.
Yes.
Like every project has its own personality based on the needs of the client and what the taste
Yes.
of the client. In case of commercial projects that we're gonna show a few here, it's based on the identity of the brand.
Mhm.
So it's like a good fusion.
Yes, we get to work with a lot of clients and taste, because every client has its own taste, and we have to adapt to everything that they want, because we're not the people who are gonna live in that space. The client is, so we have to adapt. And either if we don't like some things, we have to like adjust and
Mhm.
make something that we can both agree on.
Exactly. So this is another project in Arboleda, which is the same complex as the first apartment we showed. And basically it's like a villa. How do I say this? It's like a two villa, like a two-story apartment. And here we also came up with a very eclectic design. We designed this like, sorry, I haven't spoken English in a very long time, but
Wall divider.
like wall divider, And the proposal of furniture is something also like neutral colors with some marble stones. And what we love about this project is that in the second story, it's a whole bar. We loved and we really enjoyed designing this bar. It's like eclectic, elegant, but it's also, I think, very manly. Like it's, I don't know, the pieces of furniture we chose, it's like something more masculine, but still with the elegant touches of like these details. I don't know how to say this in English, but the details of the marble work, the election of wall coverings.
Yes, it was really fun when the client told us that he wanted to dedicate a whole floor for a bar and entertaining. So we got to explore a few different options, and this is what we came to, and we loved it.
We're gonna skim through it
Yes.
because we are more interested in the questions. This is also another apartment that it's really special for us. And basically this proposal came up with, it was something completely different than what we've done before, because it's a more kind of not rustic style,
like bohemian or natural style that we weren't used to doing. And we started with a few proposals, and the client told us to go literally on a different route. So we started working like on this wall finish that it's more like a rustic Mediterranean feel, and the beams, stuff like that, we didn't used to incorporate it in our projects, but we had really fun working on this because the client wanted a few like natural wood finishes, and like you can see on the bottom render, the bench is literally a piece of
wood,
raw wood. So it was really fun.
Exactly. And also the incorporations of like the beige wall with this contrast of this hard marble table, which is black, and then also the incorporation of these
arches.
The arches, the half middle arches, also make it a bit more feminine, but with also like this masculine part, with also this nature. And
I can say like this is the only apartment in La Nube that we know of, and we've been talking to the developer that it's gonna incorporate arches. No one else, and this is a really fun thing to say because people don't usually incorporate these kind of elements, but the client really was eager to have some difference in its apartment.
Exactly. We're really happy with this
result.
With these results, exactly. Okay, so this is an apartment in South Padre Island, Texas, which is it's like our vacation spot. It's 4 hours away by car from where we live. And basically it's the Tower Breakers, and it's a really old tower. So basically the condominiums there are, well, very old. So the client wanted this proposal of something more modern, yet still it felt like the vibe of South Padre Island.
And homey. He wanted like to feel he's at home when he leaves on vacation. He wanted a space that feels his own and stuff like that, and very like light and airy. So we designed everything like in these beige and white colors. We incorporated also like a mirror in the living room so we can feel larger, because it's not a huge space, but it's a really cozy space. Also
the decision, it's a very typical thing that apartments in South Padre Island have carpets. So it's all this carpet. So we said like, okay, we're still gonna get to stay with the basis, which is like this long distribution of apartment with this mirror and the carpet, but give it a more modernized look. So this is a proposal. And something I love about this render is that what we try to do when we get a new project or when we are modeling when we are 3D modeling, we try to incorporate every detail as possible for the render, the final render, for it to be the close as possible to reality. So here, basically, we took, when we went to the site, we took a picture of how you would look to the ocean, and basically in Photoshop
That's
we
the
put-
real view from the window in the bedroom.
Mhm,
You can see like the piece of jungle and or like mountain, and then
the ocean.
the ocean. And another fun thing is, because it's in the United States, the like process of creating and fabricating furniture is really hard. So we selected every piece so you can buy it in a store or online. So you can order, and literally every furniture you can see, you can buy from a page we gave the client. So it's really fun that everything we chose, it's from a store.
Mhm. So this is a project very different from what we've done before.
We wanted to show like the range of projects. We can see like the modern typical stuff you can see in like Mexico, but we wanted to give you something like another extreme of like a Mexican architecture we can also do, and we've done.
Mhm. And basically, this project came to us, and we were with the client with their need of, I want to do a typical Mexican traditional hacienda. So our first instinct was like, okay, what defines a Mexican hacienda? And it's basically these rectangles that has its offsets, and the most interior offset is like this interior patio. And basically it's the incorporation of arches, the beams,
Fountain.
the fountain, the tiles, exactly. So what we did was this whole floor plan distribution, and I think we also really enjoyed this because it was a challenge. We've never done a project this big. It's 1,400 square meters, so it was something challenging for us to distribute all the spaces, because it's like four bedrooms, and then you have 4 bedrooms at the top, then you have a master bedroom, you have this whole area, it's social area with like double living room, dining room, kitchen, family room, sorry, a gym. So it was this whole thing that, how do I connect and how do I make the spaces connect between them?
Yes. Another fun thing we did here, it was the first project the client asked for some landscape. We've done a couple since this project, but this was the first that we proposed landscaping. So we decided on incorporate a few things, like these typical things you can see on an hacienda, like the bugambilias and the palm trees and stuff like that.
Mhm. And also, I think this is where it comes in handy, or when you start to appreciate real like artisan handwork, because we got to go to a factory. Well, it's not a factory, it's like a
Store.
huge, no, it's not a store, it's, o sea, la bodega,
A warehouse.
a warehouse where you have these artisan Mexican people doing each and every tile, handmade tile. So it's this amazing, like, I don't know, someone else would be, I think it's us architects that we are really into details,
Yes.
but the work and the time you put into one tile of this, it's like amazing.
And you can see tiles across the whole project, like in the floor of the kitchen are some tiles, in the fountain there's another one, and in the backsplash of the kitchen there's another one. We had to take pictures of literally a handmade tile, and then in Photoshop, yes.
Then I think that's our process. When we like something, we try to see if it's in model. If it's not modeled, we model it. in
Yes.
order for it to look as
As close
real
as real.
as
Yes.
possible. Exactly. So this is the main entrance in a way, and also like the details of these leaves that make it
More realistic.
more realistic, and the decision of the marble, the tone of the hacienda.
The client was very specific that the project wanted to be orange. So we went to the paint store and selected a bunch of oranges to see which one we liked too, because we were kind of like against putting orange on our building, but like in the hacienda. But
But
we actually loved it.
I think it came down to a very nice tone of orange that is also somewhat brownish. So yes, we really enjoyed this project as well.
This is a project we finished literally a month ago. We started working first like in the bathroom, then in the bedroom. But the plan is to go in every room of the house one step at a time, because there's people living in the house, so they didn't want it like the whole thing to be on development. So we've been started room by room. We finished the last year the bathroom, and now we finished the bedroom, and it literally looks the same as the render. That's a really happy experience, because you get to see like the good work people can do.
Yes, something you design or something that you're used to seeing on the computer translated
Yes.
into real life. It's like, wow, I did this.
Yes.
And this is a proposal of the master bedroom,
Yes.
which is
The client was very specific on the way he wanted things, like the bedside table. He wanted like a big, because he didn't like the idea of like
reaching down.
reaching down. So he wanted like at certain level, and he gave us like the height. So
It's very custom made.
yes.
And we, as we said before, we try to be as detailed as possible and
Satisfy every client.
need.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think this render, it's very, if not like the most close to reality, because actually this
Vent.
this vent, it's there like that. Exactly.
Yes. So we started with commercial now, and it's not in order, but this is our first commercial project, and it was one of the most hard projects we've done, because the brand, it's a jewelry brand that it's just launched like 2 months ago, and he wanted the showroom to be the thing that launches the brand.
Exactly. The brand, it's diamonds, and they sell jewelry, but they're lab made diamonds. So they're not earth diamonds, they are lab made diamonds. So this whole concept of I want a jewelry store that mimics the future, or that you're in
Spaceship.
in a basically a spaceship.
He gave us like a mood board of a space. He wanted like the observatory feel, the spaceship feel. He was all over the place, and that's why it was really hard for us to like narrow down because the brand wasn't launched yet. So it didn't have like
the identity of the brand was
Exactly.
not established yet.
So we helped create also like the brand clearly, and it was really fun. Like you can see, I love to say this, but in this render, the pendants, we took literally a whole day finding those pendants, because it feels like a planet, like it's
Jupiter.
Saturn, I don't know, but we selected those pendants in order to fit the brand, and they actually bought those pendants, and they're hung right now in Calzada. This project is in Calzada. And it was really fun. Yes.
It was really fun, but I think it's the most challenging, and I think the most time it took for us, because of the identity of the brand was not designed. So basically, we were not only the architectural designers, but also the marketing and branding and
Yes.
graphic designers of what now
Yes.
is.
And this project is also finished, literally as close as the render as possible. You can now see it in Calzada, it's open. If you are interested in some of this, you can see it, and it's really nice to.
Yes, you could see their Instagram. In their Instagram, they always show their showroom, so it's really close as possible as the render.
This is a project more like a corporate, and we're actually gonna to show this project this Thursday? No, Tuesday. We are just finishing. Yesterday it was like the cleaning of the
Final
project, and we already hung the art and stuff like that. So we're really excited to give this away to the client, because it's a client, a lawyer, and this is gonna be his office, and yes, it literally ended up the same.
And last but not least, this is also one of our commercial projects we've done. We finished this project like 2 months ago or a month and a half ago, and it was basically it's a brand that sells dance equipment like ballet shoes, tutus. I don't know the other words in English, but yeah.
And it was really fun because we had to dig in, because this brand didn't have like a strong identity, and actually they had to redo the logo because it didn't fit with the design we wanted. And
when we first came to their shop before we designed this, everything was all over the place.
Every color,
mix
and match.
Mixes and matches. So it didn't have this whole identity also of what Dansu is. So when we were speaking to the client, she used to be a ballet dancer, and now she retired and she opened her own like selling ballet stuff, ballet equipment. So we wanted to basically mimic a ballet studio. I think here
you can see
the incorporation of these gold tones and this very fine steel work, which mimics like a
ballet tube.
Ballet tube
where ballerinas stretch and stuff like that. We had really so much fun searching like ballerina stuff, because we had to like make custom-made furniture in order to fit this project. And we also picked every color. We set up like this pink, it's like now the brand's color, and we picked it out, so it was really fun to do it.
Yes. And I think we stayed on time, Paulina, but basically it's
some project that we love.
Yes. Some of our 10 projects we've done.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your portfolio. I love really that it's like very clean and your identity really like shows through each project. And I personally love what you mentioned about like having to merge your ideas and like staying on track, even though like a client has maybe like a mess in their head, in their ideas, they want everything to be there. So it's really challenging, like really to like put it all and make it look so clean. So really congrats for all your projects. I would love to move on like to more of the discussion portion of the meeting. So again, like if anyone wants to jump in, feel free to do so. So I'd love to start with the question. Like I know you guys did your thesis project together, and now the three of you have created like your own architecture firm. So how did that like really start off? Like I know there's a lot, like there's two sides of architecture thesis themes. That ones that like really bond together and they like really have like a project in the future, not like forgetting about architecture school. And then there's the other ones that like work for a year and they're like, okay, I'm done with you. How did that like work?
Well, basically, not seeing each other after thesis, it wasn't an option because we were really good friends before. Before that, I met Nina literally
When we were in second grade.
10 years ago.
Mhm.
So we were really good friends, and Alejandro and I were roommates on our exchange. So it wasn't an option. So when we decided to do thesis together, we knew we were friends and we were gonna work on this project together. And while doing our thesis, we started talking about like a few projects and collaborating and stuff like that. Regina was some things skeptical about working with us because she was afraid of like freelancing and started like doubting it. But as soon as she saw Alejandro and I decided on working alone, never working for anyone else again, she kind of like jumped in and leaped with us. So we're thankful for that. And now we started.
Yes, so basically we worked a year together in thesis and we realized that we worked really good together. Each of us have their own strengths, and I think we do a really good match and we have a really good balance of it. So when we graduated our thesis, we won honorific mention, and we were like really proud because we said like, okay, it's good if we win it, but we're not gonna like die this whole year if we don't win it. Like,
Yes.
so it was like, you got an honorific mention. And I was like, we were really proud. And then that summer, basically Alejandro and Marcelo decided to start their own. I started working full time, and then we said like, what are we doing? Let's build something our own. We work really good together.
Yeah, I think that's pretty amazing how like each piece of the puzzle suddenly like completes. So yeah, like congrats on that, on like merging really good. I think that really transmits throughout your projects. And for example, so I know like Nina, you mentioned like you were really afraid of like freelancing. So with your experience, like, would you suggest for students like to work some years for an architecture firm, or at least like some time, in order to gain like some experience and then move on to like freelancing? Like with that, with your experience, what would you recommend?
Definitely. I think what made me actually do like the push to freelancing and starting our own firm was that I felt confident enough. Like, okay, I had this whole background of 5 years of architecture school and the past 2 years of working in the firm where I was working. So I felt confident enough, and with the strength I had developed and the experience I had developed to do the jump. So I think it's really important to take time and really do these internships that some universities make it obligatory, some don't. But I think it's really important because it's the most close to the real world out there as possible. And it's very different in school. They do not teach you how to manage a client or how to do dice cotización?
Budget.
A budget, or how do you manage with a proveedor, construction worker,
Yes.
etc. So this type of contact out in the real world, you gain it through
Experience.
professional experience and internships. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, so I know like the three of you are really, really good friends. You've been, like you mentioned, since second grade, that's way back.
Way back.
So how do you like keep a balance like on handling like work life and friendship life separate, like going to the office like day to day? Do you consider it's important to keep a distance between like kind of friendship time and not merge it together?
I mean, it's a balance because obviously being good friends, we like to talk and start making jokes and stuff like that. But when we had to get the work done, we're very strict on, okay, we have to do this, so everyone concentrate. But it's a balance, and I think we've managed it
Really good.
really good.
Mhm.
And yes, what it really helped is when we started growing our team, when we started having interns and stuff like that, because in their eyes they know we're friends, but in their eyes we are like more professional, so we have to like put on the part and don't start laughing at every joke everyone says.
Mhm.
So that helped a lot also.
Yes, at first, when it was only the three of us, we talked more about like our personal lives, but then when it was time to, okay, we have this project due in 2 days, let's get to work.
Yes.
But as Marcelo said, when we started, we hired a full-time architect that helps us, and she works really well. And exactly, in her eyes, we try to be as professional as possible because it's still a work you get paid to do. It's not like I'm meeting my friends,
Yes.
doing a floor plan whenever I want, here and there, and I get really late to the office. No, it's like we have a schedule, we have due dates.
Yes.
We try to be as professional as possible.
It also helped that from the start, we were busy. We didn't have like a time where we had nothing to do. In the contrary, from the start, we had a lot of like things going on. So there was no time for like joking and stuff like that. We had to meet people, go somewhere, do something.
Take measures.
Exactly.
Etc.
We hadn't had like the time to chill.
And I think that's something that we are really thankful for, that ever since we started, we've never come to a point like, so what next?
Exactly.
I don't know why, but every time we finish a project, more come. Like, it's
thankful for that.
We're thankful for that, and I don't want to jinx it, but we are really thankful for that because I'm serious. Every time we're almost closing a project, we get more DMs on, hey, I have this apartment, I want for you to design it, or I'm interested in having a meeting. So I think thanks to that, we are also very grounded and down to earth, and we also try to do some voluntary work that benefits others without us gaining some economic
gain
back. So we also try to be like as human as possible. Like, we're very thankful for where we are now, ever since a year and a half that we started, and still this is a way of me showing that of us showing that we're thankful, and we try to do voluntary work.
Yeah, I really love that, and also like congrats on that. I know like right now some people like it's all over the place, but like some people like don't have that many projects. So like being recent grads, you mentioned you graduated like a year and a half ago. You right now have like a very wide portfolio. So do you have like any tips on how to get any clients? Like what has worked for you? Maybe also publishing, being very active on social media. Does that benefit at some point?
I mean, for the most part, or at least at the beginning, it all started with friends and family because they trusted us. But I think working hard and making like a good impression, even on your family members or your like close friends, it started gaining like a momentum because word of mouth is really powerful. And
they start recommending
exactly,
you.
exactly. So I think the most thing, maybe social media helps, but the most is giving the client a really good experience. And it's actually really rewarding when a client like texts us and give us things and stuff like that. We actually had this experience like this week where a client was really happy with
The results.
with the result. So she redacted like a whole paragraph thanking us, and it's that thing because that client probably that it's happy with her project is gonna recommend us. So that's the biggest point, I think.
Exactly. In our budgets, we always put like a note that says our aim or our objective here is to give you this experience without any worries, that we lead you through every decision regarding prices or budget, or we are working with you. We are a team that we work together. I think we also, with our clients, we do not end or we do not close a project until they're happy. If we have a design and we don't see the client as convinced, we propose another design until
Exactly.
the client is satisfied, and it's like, okay, green light, the design is checked. So I think that also has a lot to do with the empathy. And I think we're very flexible on that, because I know that other architecture firms are like, okay, you're hiring us and you only have 3 changes. And when those 3 changes are you've done those 3 changes, I'm gonna charge you more. And in our case, we're like, we're not gonna stop until you are happy.
Even if you don't like a coffee table on the render, we do the render again until you like every piece of furniture on the render. So everything is really like custom made with the client and by the hand of the client, and we like to give the client a very good experience. So that's why we think we've done a lot of projects.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know like that many like maybe reviews or anything can maybe like be very time consuming, but at the end, as you say, like word of mouth goes way beyond anything. I want to move on like maybe to some time management, like recommendations, and maybe like what it's like in your day to day. So like while being your bosses, like I know there's a difference in being your own boss and working for a firm. Like working for a firm, you have like a really tight like schedule, I'd say. You enter at that time, you end at that time, and sometimes people don't respect like your end time. But with being your own bosses, do you think you have like more liberty with your time at some point?
I think we do. We are very flexible. Of course, we have a schedule of working hours, but we are very flexible, and we do have more freedom. However, we do have more responsibilities, because at the end of the day, it's your face. It's not like the face of a company, or you have this whole team to back you up. It's like your face,
And
your
your
reputation,
reputation,
your reputation to with a client. And there are meetings where we've ended up until 9 p.m. with our clients, and it's like, I'm happy to be here.
exactly.
Like,
Even if you're hungry or the client wants a meeting at lunchtime, you cannot say no to a client because you work literally for them. So you have to manage with that. But I think as a generation, most people nowadays are trying to be more flexible with their own hours. And we're really happy about that because we also are very flexible, like Regina said. But as long as we get to do our work, we don't mind if someone walks in late or something like that, because everyone knows what they're supposed to do, and as long as they do it, I think it's fine. Even if to the people that work for us, we don't mind if they had to leave early or stuff like that. But they have
To get the
sometimes-
job done.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's very important, like more than the amount of times, it's more like the quality of what people do. That's way more important. I want to move on like to dress codes. Like you work at at an office, but also you go like to site visits, where there's proveedores. You get me?
Suppliers.
Exactly.
Suppliers.
Yeah, like maybe these carpenters that like maybe, I don't know, do you have like any dress codes for going like on-site visits? Like for example, I know it's different like men and women, like Nina, maybe you could also like share some experience on that.
Yes.
Yes, I think it's when you go on site visits, it's well on the buildings we go into, it's like a dress code that you have to be covered up, like your sleeves and closed shoes, etc. So I think that's like pre-established.
Yes.
But also when we go on site visits, that there's not a establishment that you have to wear closed shoes and you have to have your legs all covered. I personally do go, I try to go all covered and like
Non-revealing.
non-revealing or non-tight, because I don't know if this happens a lot in the US, but in Mexico the construction workers are
Mostly
like
men.
mostly men, and you have to paint a really good line of, I'm a very like open to them, and I have a good relationship with people that work with us and they work for us, but I also try to paint a line like, I am in a way your boss, so don't get too friendly with me. And yes, as a woman, thankfully, in my experience ever since I graduated and in my work experience as an intern, I've never gotten any like male harassment. Just once when I was working on a construction site and I was leaving for my internship in Poland, the owner of the construction site said like, yes, it's fine, leave. Anyway, I wasn't going to hire you. I was going to hire a guy because it's construction firm. And I was like, okay, do whatever you want. It's your firm. But yes, it's those types of firms that also do this stigma of, well, it's a very old company and the owner, it's like very traditional, like male workers do construction and female workers only do decorations. And
yes.
Mhm.
To add to your question, there is a saying that actually a teacher at UDEM told us, like in the first day at school, where he said that you are an image. You portray like an image as a designer, as an architect, and what the client sees is what they expect. So if you look good, they're gonna assume that you have good taste. And we actually, what we sell is taste. An architect sells taste, and it's like design options. So how you look, it's a very like you can portray a lot. So I think it's really important that we look like our best, because we are trying to portray like good taste and like good design. So that's very important for us also, to look the part and look the best for the clients and to be respected and stuff like that.
Yes, regarding like meeting with clients, we do try to polish ourselves, not go to a meeting where you are coming from a site visit,
Yes.
where with dust all over. So with dress code regarding, we do try to maintain this image that you're selling.
Yeah, I agree. And also like maybe it's pretty hard since like being tight on time, like trying to polish yourself after a site visit before a client meeting. I know it can be like very, like you feel like you're in a hurry, but at least as you say, like you're selling your image. And that's very, very important. Also, like with this like genders segment, I would say, like several times people tend to associate money management to men, and like you guys are working together, and like when you create a budget, like how do the three of you do it together? Do you get any help from other person? I don't know, do you feel as if sometimes money talk is more like associated like to Marcelo or Alejandro?
I mean, everything we've done ourselves. We've never had external work, but it's been a process for us to learn because obviously no one talks about budget and like cost a lot in school. So it was like a
Trial and
process.
error.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Where sometimes we didn't gain as much as we wanted to, or maybe we lost even money, but it's part of like growing and knowing how to do stuff. And I think it's basically a process, but I don't think it depends on like gender to know how to budget and to make money. Actually the roles in our like in our firm are very different. People expect that Regina is the one that loves to select like
Furniture.
wallpaper and furniture, and she actually
Accessories.
it's the least she likes to do. She loves to but she's more like technical. So the roles I don't think they're very like set on our firm. It's
Mhm.
really like
Yeah.
fluid.
And I think something that is worth sharing is that we've done a lot of budgets, and I think in everyone there is something that we didn't consider and we end up losing money. So every time now that we do a budget, it's like, okay, I'm gonna add these concepts because I've learned from here, and here that I have to hire this. Or at the end, the simple decision of adding the final cleaning, like a cleaning company comes and wipes off all the dust and the aspirar, vacuum the dust.
Everything costs money. So the client, we have to tell our client that even the broom we had to like
Buy,
buy costs money, the garbage.
or the plastic coverings, or
Tape,
the
everything.
carton to cover the floors. Everything costs. So we've learned to
manage
to
more.
manage.
Especially in remodeling, when you remodel something, there's a lot of surprises. So we like literally on our budget have a space for like surprises and stuff that we cannot consider, because when we demolish the old things, a lot of things come up. So we have no way on knowing that there was something wrong that we didn't acknowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I've been like in several projects like that are like remodeling, and like you wanna maybe pull down wall and then you break the whole water system, and it's like, oh gosh.
Yes, exactly. For that reason, we learned to do like a concept for that.
No, and I think we are also aware that in construction, once you start to execute the project, you know that
A lot of things are
a lot of things are gonna go wrong, and a lot of things are gonna come up. So also in our budgets, we do like a note in parentheses, like this budget is sujeto a, like depending on what comes up.
Yes.
So the client is also aware that some things might come up when you take off
The old ceiling.
the old ceiling. Exactly.
Yeah, that's so important to make the client like aware of anything that might happen. Yeah, come up. So I know the three of you had an international experience, and I know, for example, that something I also went to study abroad a semester to Italy. So I know that something that personally helped me a lot was asking and actually like talking to people from previous semesters that had gone to the same place I was looking forward to going. Um, do you have any recommendations like do's and don'ts of to people that want to go study abroad on a way to prepare like beforehand?
I always say that the best way of learning architecture and the best Pinterest in the world, it's traveling and seeing different projects, seeing different architecture is the best thing you can do, because sometimes we take ideas from other people, and the best way to do it is seeing it. So we also encourage people to go everywhere and try to explore the world, because that's the best way of like learning new
Exactly.
things.
Before Google, before Pinterest, before Behance, architectures like Frank Lloyd Wright, he went and traveled the world. Le Corbusier, like a lot of architects got their inspiration from traveling before the whole internet existed. So I think it's a great way to learn about different architecture styles, of what are the new concepts or the new tendencies that are coming up. So I would totally recommend it. In my personal experience, I went to Poland, and it was a really small town in the south of Poland where I wanted nobody to find me. I wanted to be lost in in Poland. And I went on February 2020, and then March 2020, this whole COVID started. And my mom, which she's here connected, she called me every day like, "You are coming back home." And I was like, "I'm not getting on that plane."
I remember
I want
vividly like an hour conversation by the phone with Regina about the dilemma she had on coming back home, and how she wanted to tell her mom not to.
Uh-huh. So so I decided to stay. And of course, well, my classes were online. I learned a lot about Polish architecture through online classes with my Polish Polish teachers. However, I think also traveling helps you to get to know yourself. For me, I give myself like a pat on the back for being able to live this experience away from my home, not being comforted in like, okay, this whole thing is happening in the world. I don't know if I'm gonna die tomorrow. And being in a student dormitory in a country where I'm not even welcomed, because Polish people are very cold. And in comparison to Mexicans, that we are very friendly, we are very open, we are very collective. And so I don't know, I think that traveling as an architect, it opens your eyes, but as a person, it also helps you to be open and see different and learn about yourself.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I know, like, for example, as you say, for example, I also went my semester during pandemic, and it was like quite terrible, but as well, like the experience, like I think it's very important for students to really have it and really take the opportunity to like get to learn from like another culture, and also like from other teachers all over the world, because they have a very different point of view.
Exactly.
And well, before like moving like to the Q&A, if there's any like public questions, I know that Nina, you're a teacher right now at FUDEM, and I'd love for you to share like your experience on how teaching has changed your perspective of like being a student now that you have like the best of both worlds. And if you have like any recommendations to students that are like beginning to lose interest in their classes.
Yes, I loved this semester that I started to give the first semester architecture class, which is like an introduction to architecture. I think as a teacher, you learn, you also learn as a teacher. And I really enjoyed and I loved my experience. And even though there were some students that, well, I was presenting and I stayed up late doing Kahoots and trying to be like a good lesson, a good class lesson. There were students like on their cell phones, like I don't know, not caring. And for me, it's like I always tell them, like, you have a gift. Not everyone in Mexico has this opportunity to study a career, and especially not in UDEM, which is one of the most in this design wise, it's one of the best in Latin America. So you decide whether you want to take or you want to make the best of it, or if you want to, I don't know, the information you have, you hear it and then you not give your 100%. So it was challenging for those students because I'm a really open, I'm trying to be a nice person, but for that I was like, I am here and I'm trying to share this knowledge I have with you, and if you're on your cell phone and you're on Be Real, well, go outside. And I did said to some of the students, like, if your phone is more important than what you want your future to be, I'm not gonna put I'm not gonna take attendance off, I'm not gonna put you a 0, just go outside, stop distracting my class, and do what you have to do. But it's okay, like you decide, it's your decision. So I don't know, I think it was a process. I loved my experience, and I think I will continue being a teacher. But
Just to add, when Regina told us she wanted to be a teacher, we kind of always knew because she has the personality of a teacher, like a good teacher, the one that you can like get along with. We were really proud of like her decision, and she actually invited us to give a class with her and present like our projects and talk about like our experience. It was really rewarding to see like attention from her students to us, and they were really proud because of what she has done and like everything that she's accomplished. And it was really nice. Very proud of her.
Gracias. But yes, something that you said as a recommendation to future students that are losing their or they don't feel as motivated. I think being in college is the time to, if it's the time to give it 100%, or if it's the time to, I want to try this out and maybe it doesn't work out for me, and maybe architecture is not, it's not what I'm looking for, but it's the time to try. So something that I love about our career, as our professional career and the path we've chosen, is that architecture, I think it has like this superpower to create feelings, create emotions, to I don't know, it moves cities, it moves people, architecture is everywhere, and it really does have this superpower, even on like space configuration or the decisions of choosing the right Pantone colors for a bedroom. Like no detail is small, like there is no small space, there is no small detail, there's only so much you can do. So I think architecture does have this superpower to transform lives and cities and citizens and people.
I love how you ended on that note. So thank you so much, Nina, Marcelo, and Alejandro, for your participation and collaboration with AIAS Latin America. I don't know if there's like any questions from participants. You can either put on your mic or send it in the chat. Feel free to do so.
I think we were really clear on what we said,
Hopefully.
hopefully. And if not,
Yeah,
and if you're embarrassed, you can text us or like send a DM on our Instagram.
I'm gonna write down our Instagram account.
yes, thank you so much. So yeah, follow them at Estudio 101. And with this, we end the Life as a Graduate, What Happens If We Try event. Thank you so much, the three of you, like for putting your time, energy, and for making this possible as well. So yeah, people can find you at Estudio 101 on Instagram. And thank you so much, each one of you, for attending the meeting. Please follow at AIAS Latin America on Instagram to stay tuned for the next events. Thank you so much.
Paulina, on the contrary, thank you for inviting us and thank you for your time. It's also really rewarding to get to talk to people and tell our story. So we were really happy to be here.
Thank you for the space. Thank you for the amazing job you do as a IS ambassador. And thank you also for everyone that connected to see our story. And we're not experts. We will never be experts. We're not perfect. We mess up. We are still gonna mess up. And I hope we still mess up, for we can always learn. But if we have something that we could share or our experience, we are very happy to share it and to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you. Have a great Saturday.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You too.